Hello and welcome to Beyond Boundaries. Today I am joined, in fact I feel like we were here last year, but that interview didn't make it, right? The sound quality.
Oh, was that out here? I think it might
was
have been, yeah.
Anyway, Chris Luiz from Scout InsurTech. Chris, hello.
Hello Matt, how are you today?
I'm good. I feel like last year I didn't know you, and now like we're inseparable.
We know each other very well. Yeah.
We know each other very well. So first of all, it's day two, in fact the end of day two, at InsurTech Americas Symposium, not InsurTech half. I need to update where I am. Everyone's exhausted. How's it been?
It's been great. Yeah,
good.
Yeah, a lot of good conversations with carriers. I've got a lot of member companies that are in the audience here and also presenting. So they catch up with a lot of people that are important parts of our ecosystem.
For sure.
That's what I'm here for.
And I know you said earlier that this isn't where your strongest network lies. But you seem to know everyone. Right? True or not true?
Yes. So there's, I would say that the carriers that are headquartered out here in Hartford, I have less interaction with than those that are headquartered in a lot of the other places in the country. But I do know many of the players that are here, and I think they're mostly aware of what we're doing too, the folks in the innovation and strategy teams that we do engage with.
Yeah. So I think, looking back to, I hadn't, before we talked, I hadn't really thought about our conversation last year. So first of all, it didn't air because
it was too good.
Yeah, it was too good. Maybe it's, that's right.
Good.
It was just going to crash the internet or something like that. But since then, I came out to Columbus to your event.
Yeah.
Which is, so the year later, it's going to be in May, right? It's
correct.
When is it?
26th, 27th of May this year.
Okay, which is the Tuesday, Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday,
26th, 27th of May. And so for all of those Europeans, if you want to take the same road trip I'm doing, I think I'm going to come out to Columbus and then fly straight to Barcelona for the ITC Europe event. I think it's just before, right?
It's right before, yeah.
So it is possible. Last year it was fantastic, and it's fantastic in so many different levels. So I'm meaning not the interview, the event that you held.
Also the interview,
and
yes,
the interview,
of course.
But it was great, right? And it's great from again. I felt it a little bit here in Hartford, but certainly in New York as well. There was a real openness and willingness to meet up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was me coming from the UK and maybe they weren't so familiar with the Sønr brand, or whatever it was, or there's just a genuine interest in what we were talking through or had to sell, or whatever it be. But there was a real kind of community feeling.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that part of the vibe over with Scout? So where are you guys at?
So as a counterpoint to many of the organizations that throw one or two events a year, I'm in 60-something events a year. So right. I'm throwing events in New York and in Chicago and all over Ohio and Detroit, in Nashville, in Atlanta. And the people that go to those more local events end up coming to the conference. They associate Scout and our brand with that community that they felt there.
So when I'm thinking Scout, I shouldn't be thinking about this event in May, right? Scout is almost like a persistent
correct
community.
I 100% live this all year round. It's not just lead up to a conference for me. I am at the day after my conference, or maybe a couple weeks after, I'm going to continue going back and hunting for new and interesting companies to put up on stage over the year and the following year.
And how did the family feel about that? It's like you must constantly be on the road, right?
This spring has been...
Maybe that's why we're such friends, is because we see each other everywhere.
We see each other in a lot of places, yeah. So I am on the conference circuit, certainly in spring and in fall, but summer is a little bit slower for me. So okay. I'm mostly at home, get to hang out with the family, and work from the house.
Okay, good stuff. So coming back to the event in May, mm-hmm. One of the many. What can we expect this year?
This year, so we're growing. Looks like somewhere between about 50% over last year.
Okay. Same venue?
Same venue.
Yeah.
We are activating more areas of the venue. We have a soccer stadium in Columbus, Ohio, so there's several rooms and places that we can put people to accommodate more. Last year we put 51 companies on stage, early stage, pre-seed to Series A, with a couple U.S. market entry plays. We will put 90 on stage this year. I've got 80 locked in right now. We're going to start trickling out who those are over the coming weeks, so you can be looking for that. Cool. And yeah, we're doing a workshop day the day before, and as you know, we do a lot of social stuff around it, so we're going to have a big dinner the night of the show, and an opening event that last year drew over 200 people, so
yeah, great.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And the whole networking thing, again, within the event space, but it was so much of it, I don't know whether it's always beautiful weather at that time of the year there, but I imagine it may be. But so much of that was done outside as well. I don't know whether you're aware of that, but like, it's just like, and it was not in a kind of like a random sense, but people would meet and connect and then organize just themselves to go outside. It's just beautiful, right? It's just it's like the perfect way, sitting in the stadium, just a couple of soccer chairs or football chairs, and just having a conversation like you and I now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We have a nearly unlimited meeting space, and that's what we set up to do, and that's what people do there, right? We, as a counterpoint to some other conferences that do a lot of thought leadership work and a lot of panels and things, which, I mean, I'm on these things, I contribute to them as well. We really just put those early stage companies on stage for a minute each, and then everybody there is there to take meetings with them. So the sense of community and the willingness to have conversations is very much because there's not anything else to do. So why would you come there unless you want to take meetings and meet these people building new and interesting things? That's the point.
Very cool. For the startups, for those early stage businesses, what was the feedback from last year? I'm assuming it was positive on the basis you've pretty much doubled the number.
Yeah, very positive, and in fact, we've also doubled the number of members. So I run year-round membership programs. That's how we fund versus having like a conference sponsorship program. And really a great thing for me to see is we put a company on stage, which is free to them. We don't charge them anything for doing that. And then they come back and they say, Chris, I want to lean in to your ecosystem, and we'd like to become a member. So from an outcomes perspective, we're bringing members on like crazy. Okay, and that's great.
Yeah, and those memberships are it's the entire ecosystem, right?
Yeah, so it's the whole year. You get activations at the conference, including meeting space and tickets and signage and that stuff. But it's also access to the events that I don't. Well, you get these announcements, but the events that I don't tell everybody else about all year round. Yeah. Where we're doing on-site things in New York or Chicago or Atlanta for 35 or 40 executives, and then the VIP events that we throw around other conferences, like the one we did in New York not long ago.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? So I've been on the road for like last 2.5 weeks, albeit this time slightly different on the basis that my wife and kid have been with me, right? Yeah. So it's been beautiful. But so I started developing a strange habit of speaking to Claude, right? So I'm doing loads of my writing, but by orally being interviewed by an AI. So I've set it up in a project basis. But I've been generating a load of content ideas and then going deep into this content through writing, right? But there's a parallel to the point I was trying to make before I distracted myself, which is there's a depth we can get to in these events, right? And they are absolutely worth a lot of time, right? These panels are great. They go into the topics that are important to us as an industry, but they can only ever get to a certain depth, right? And that's just because of the nature of it. These custom events that you're running, we've run some after hours events where it's like Chatham House rules. We put some steak and wine on the table and and good company, right? And you can get into so much richer a conversation. Again, with your peers, with your competitors, with whoever it be, right? But you can go to these depths which you otherwise can't get to. And I think there's something really valuable about this kind of coexistence between you may meet somewhere like this and then be able to take that conversation deeper. That's right. And you having those events are like around the periphery of these conferences as well, right? I think it's super cool.
Yeah, that's something that's really important to us and something that we think about a lot is how do we deliver events contextually that are appropriate for different types of interaction. Now, I had a lunch yesterday. I had a dinner yesterday. We throw events for 100 people. We throw events for 15 people. And we throw the conferences, 500-600 probably this year. And you're going to get something a little bit different out of each one of those things, whether it's sitting down and really having an in-depth conversation with the person next to you over a glass of wine and a steak, or a serendipitous run-in at maybe one of the opening party as an example. For a healthy ecosystem, for people to be connected healthily within an ecosystem, you need all of these things. So I feel like you just have to layer them on. We try and do that all year round. And it's also very fulfilling. I love doing this stuff. I love talking to people. I love helping connect people to grow and build their businesses. So I find it very personally satisfying.
I love it. So I mean, I think maybe I'm going to ask you one last question, but definitely check the event out in May, and let's hope we're able to edit this, publish it, and the rest before May, right? Otherwise it's going to be just another great interview. But my last question to you is kind of what you're seeing in terms of kind of trends, interest areas. So this might be, I don't know, are you seeing kind of like a flood of a typical type of startup, or a focus within the value chain, or demand from the carrier partners that you have that they're looking for this specifically? What are you seeing kind of from an ecosystem perspective, whether it's around strategy and innovation, it's around tech trends, around kind of certain behaviors or capabilities? What interesting things? What can we get into there?
Yeah, I think that certainly there are a flood of companies that are using AI right now to do things that were very challenging to do before, though they had been done, and there are some that are doing better or worse. What I'm excited about and what I think is really interesting is when I talk to a company that is really deeply rooted in insurance and leveraging the current tooling to do something more interesting. So as like an area of an example that I really like is I've talked to a number of companies that are building technology for backhouse operations in fronting carriers and reinsurers. Mm-hmm. And this is something that is very capital efficient. So they don't have too many people, they move a lot of money, right? But also there's just a lot of manual processes. And as everyone knows now with AI, that's what they're getting after. So it's, I think that's a pretty interesting spot. I really like what's happening in the commercial and specialty spaces right now with MGAs. That's something I'm following a lot. There's all sorts of interesting parametric products coming around, like weather-based parametric products, and also things around, actually we were talking about this yesterday, so specific new types of policies and programs for things like data centers.
Right, sure.
Yeah, and that's
super interesting.
I think that's super interesting. And then the carrier side, as far as the pull, so technology at most of the carriers, right, is outpaced by what's happening outside of them. Not all of them, and certainly there are pockets in the big carriers that are doing amazing things that are beyond a lot what's happening. But it's this question, like what somebody high up, whether it's the CEO or CFO or the board, is saying, what is your AI story? And that's getting pushed down. And they're trying to figure this out. And whether that's building things internally or partnering with one of these external companies, I don't think that's figured out. That's what I'm hearing, like what is our story and how do we write that story for ourselves in such a way that supports our business? Yeah. But there's a lot of confusion and lack of, I'd say, valuable execution right now around that. It's a lot of struggling and flailing about. We hear that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Thank you, Chris. I think that is everything I wanted to cover off with you. Is there anything else that we should know about? Think about. We've got the dates. Columbus, Ohio. That's where everyone needs to book their flights to. Make sure that you're checking out Scout around the US and maybe internationally. Soon to be. Who knows?
That's right.
Anything overseas?
Well, I'd say that if what we're doing sounds interesting to you, you're looking outside of your company for opportunities in the market, and you value interpersonal connection, take a look at our site and see where we're throwing events. We do local events, smaller ones all the time. It's a good way to kind of get a taste of what our community feels like. And
I think if we had like high production value, we could just then point down here and then it'd be like a rolling ticker with your site URL like coming across the screen, right? That would be something. Maybe we'll put it in the notes or something. Chris, thank you, buddy. It's a pleasure to catch up with you. Always safe travels back to Ohio this evening.
Yes.
Cool.
Likewise, Matt.
And for all of you who tune in, thank you very much. We will catch up in the next Beyond Boundaries live interview. Thanks again. Cheers, buddy.
Thank you.